You're listening to Way Out There on GJRB Online. If you'd like to talk to Gary, pick up the phone right now and dial area code 563-613-4260 or on Skype at Gary.Russin. If you don't want to get on the radio, you can contact Gary via the chat room on the GJRB public site by clicking the comic book icon on the GJRB widget. And now, back to Way Out There on GJRB.
And it's a Freestyle Friday. That means all things goes. Nothing tight, nothing there. The automation just didn't work for me today, so we're boarded for the rest of the day, and we're going to finish our show with non-stop talk from now until the end. This is our final part of Way Out There for today here on GJRB Online, and that means that we're going to close out the show at this portion of the program. And opened up pretty good, so we're just going to leave it at that, and we're going to have another edition of Way Out There coming up real soon again, too, by the way. I'll be giving you our program schedule in this segment, and we're also going to do non-stop talk. That means no more breaks, no more promos, no more nothing. We're just going to go back-to-back, non-stop talk. We're going to get everything in here, and we're just going to go now, and I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to, except for some of our themes and a few other things, I'm going to clear the board. I'm just going right here. Maybe a couple of promos toward the end of the program. Let's see, I'm going to do this. Okay. Alright. I'm going to put that up there, and that's pretty much going to be it. We're just going to go non-stop. What I'm doing right now is setting up my final break at the end of the show. Final break, and wrap it up right here. And then I'll give you our program schedule coming up next here on GJRB Online. Remember, keep in mind, no more Saturday broadcast here on GJRB Online. We're going to be off the air on Saturday, and now a sports page, I don't know. I'm going to try to see what I can do about setting that for a Sunday evening program, unless there's a Cubs game on my on our 9-foot signal on 107.9. Other than that, sometimes we might do a Sunday broadcast. But other than that, we're not going to broadcast on the weekends at all. So just to let you know about that. And then on Monday afternoon, and we're going to be on at noon, and we're going to do Christian rock. We'll be on the air again Monday afternoon at noon. We're going to do the CCF church services at noon, and then at 2 o'clock, it's the Positive Rock Show Emerging Monday. Got some brand new music for you to play. We're going to have some great Christian alternative music and new artists. The second hour always dedicated to brand new artists, and we're going to feature some brand new stuff in our Make It and Break It segment. Try to see if I can get relaunch our Christian rock news and our concert calendar, but right now I don't have much information on it to gather right now. It's just such a short time. See what I can do about that Monday. But otherwise, we're going to have some great Christian rock Monday afternoon, so if you'll tune in for the Positive Rock Show Emerging Monday at 2 o'clock Central right here on GJRB. Starts at noon with our Christian Community Fellowship Church services at noon Central, 10 a.m. Pacific here on GJRB. So tune in for that. Meanwhile, though, let's get into more of the programming here that we're doing Way Out There, the show that talks about the strange and the bizarre. At the tail end of our last segment, we were talking about weather manipulation. Do you feel that weather... and I believe it is. I'm sorry, I just do. I think that weather has been tampered with. Now, look, I believe that at this time of year, today, should have been predicted, well, in the mid-50s today. But, quite frankly, I would like to have seen 70 degrees today. Really would. I don't know why we are so stuck with this sub-cold weather, for crying out loud. Now, people, now I got some listeners. Anybody listening in Florida, tell me what the current temperature is. I'm going to look it up, because I usually do. But I bet you it's about 90. It's predicted to be 90. As I was listening to our affiliate, WFLA, and they said it was going to be 90 degrees today. 90. So see, this is what I'm saying. 90. And I just don't understand it. This is just getting crazy, this weather. Cold, 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 cold. If we were in Florida right now, it would be.
In today's program, I interview...
Let's see. That's not the one I wanted anyway. Cold. That's all it is. And I'm going to, I'm tired of it. If we're going to have this chilly weather and, pack up everything and just go somewhere where it is warm. That's the whole idea. That's what I want to do. Because I was fed up when I was a kid that it was cold like this all the time. And I'm just, I don't understand why it has to be this way. Freezing like this. Putting a jacket on. I got a long sleeve shirt on. And just don't know. It's just plain nuts. I tell you. Coming up in this last segment, we're going to do Peter Kling. He is a prophecy guy. Predicted what he believes is the end times. And in this last segment, we're going to play a message that runs about 8 minutes 14 seconds in which he talks about this. And he talks about global predictions that we could be hit with what they call a giant EMP, or one of those EMPs that would shut the electric down for long, long periods of time. He predicts this, and he predicts a lot of things that about what could happen next. And the only thing I like to talk to him about, that's why I'm going to get a hold of him for an interview. He might get mad at me when I say this, but I believe that it needs to be done. And like I said, this program is the strange, the bizarre, the unusual, the way out there on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker, where we hear the... But all aside from all that, because this is a show that I put in for entertainment, but it's with a twist. And I've said this before, as a Christian, I like to talk here about this, is that he claims to be abducted by aliens and he sees the future. As I say, what truth behind that? Because see, my book, the Bible, says that there is no aliens. Okay? And if this guy is prophesying using the Bible and all that, and coming with these aliens and that, I got just a small debate with this guy. I'd love to get a hold of him. Now, I have an interview with him. Let me see if I can go over here. But it's an interview on a program called LNM Network. He is being interviewed on this program, and he talks about, and I really haven't listened to it all the way through yet. I just kind of started it last night. But for Ed, our 9-foot listeners here on 88.9, possibility you might hear that interview sometime this weekend on the 9-foot signal in the evening or the late night hours. I don't know, I can't remember the name of this program. It runs 3 hours, 1 minute, 15 seconds. So I'm thinking about running it on our 9-foot signal. That's KGRB. So here on the neighborhood, the 800 block of 28th Avenue North, people listening on 88.9 on the FM dial will hear this interview. And it's going to be with Peter Kling. He's a biblical end-time prophecy on the LMN network. It was from a program broadcast on March 28th of this year, 2017. And it will be heard sometime this weekend on KGRB LPFM. 9-foot signal, 88.9 on the FM dial. So 88.9 listeners, you'll be hearing this. Okay, it's a great one. I'm going to hear it probably late night hours. And I'll be broadcasting it. So you're going to want to listen to that for people listening locally. And I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to grab some clips from it. And on the next Way Out There show, I'll expand on this. Okay, so we're going to do that on the next Way Out There show, and we'll talk about that. Now, let me see. I'm going to go into my calendar real quick and pull up my schedule for the next coming shows. We're going to do that, and then we're going to wrap up the program, of course, with the program schedule for the remainder of the week. So, remainder of the month. Now, remember, this month ends this weekend. April 30th is Sunday. We're going to record the church services Sunday, and we start May off with the Positive Rock Show, Emerging Mondays. Okay? And then next weekend, here on GGRB Online, we're going to be doing jazz, smooth afternoon, next Friday, starting at noon. Here on GGRB Online, 12 noon Central Time, 10 a.m. Pacific for some smooth jazz, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock in the East, smooth jazz, 2 to 5 p.m. smooth afternoon. I'll be playing some more great smooth jazz for you on the afternoon, so I hope you'll tune in for that broadcast. That's Friday afternoon, next Friday, May 5th, right here on GJRB for smooth jazz, smooth afternoon. And then Saturday night, May 6th, 9 to 11 p.m., we're going to do the best of jazz. So we got 2 jazz programs coming up back-to-back, Friday and Saturday night next week on GJRB Online. So you want to tune in for that. Great jazz, smooth jazz. I love that music. It's a great sound. Love it a lot. So you can tune in for that next weekend. And then the Gary Russin program, and on May 12th, 2 weeks from now, will be another Gary Russin program. It'll be a Freestyle Friday edition of the Gary Russin program next 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, another Gary Russin program, Freestyle Friday edition, live right here on GGRB Online at 2 o'clock Central, right here. So tune in for that. The Gary Russin program, Freestyle Friday edition, May 12th, right here on GJRB Online. So there we go. And then on May 19th, that following Friday will be another at noon, another last 7 days, and another Way Out There right afterward. Those two always follow each other. Way Out There right afterward, and we got another great show. And on that show, I will take some of those clips and I'll play that interview a little bit for you here on GGRB Online. We'll kind of move it around, listen to it, see how I can work that around a little bit, and see what we can do with it. And then later on, I'm going to get a hold of this guy, and we're going to chat about a possibility. Maybe I can book an interview with him. I'm going to see what I can do. I don't know. I'm going to try. If I get turned down, I'll just settle for what I've got. But I don't know. I'd just like to interview him as a Christian would interview him, as opposed to George Norrie, who I'm not saying he's not. I believe he's Catholic. And this guy is doing biblical prophecy, but he's saying that he was abducted by aliens and was to see the future. I have to debate that. I just have to. Because something about that just doesn't sound right. I just don't think that what he was abducted by was not aliens, but demons. Really do. I believe that that's not something that I'm going to buy that fast. It just doesn't click with me. I believe that he might have seen something, but whether it was the future is questionable. So, I don't know. People see things, and this is, like I was saying before, last night I would talk about this too, and I was going to promote this on this program for today. I'll try to see if we can squeeze something in. I was talking about something and about that. People have been hearing booms, been hearing trumpet noises all over the country. Okay? Here in Clinton, Iowa, I have not heard anything like that. No booms, no trumpet sounds. I haven't heard anything like that here. Not saying that you didn't hear it. It's not what I'm saying. Okay? I'm not saying you didn't hear it. I'm just saying the possibility that maybe they're hearing it, but for some reason here in this town, I haven't been hearing it. Either it's just heard in special places, which I kind of would like to believe that that's what it is, special places, but these trumpet sounds, I'm not hearing them. I'm not. I just don't know why some people hear them and some people don't. People see demons or whatever, and or see ghosts or whatever. I just don't buy it. And so I know I just don't buy it. Anyhow. Let's go into this segment, and then after that I'm going to give you the preview, because this segment Way Out There on GJRB Online is brought to you by Premier Radio Networks that bring you Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie 7 nights a week. Coast to Coast AM, heard on fine radio stations, talk radio stations across the country, like my fine favorite affiliate 970 WFLA, Tampa, Florida. WMT, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, WJAS, Pittsburgh, and WRVA, Richmond, Virginia. Some of the stations that pick up Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. And we'll give you this week's upcoming guest lineup and guest schedule for Coast to Coast AM coming up at the end of the show here on GJRB Online, so tune in for that. And of course, like I said before, we'll continue with our program schedule, but that is what we got coming up for this week. Let's see. I want to go back into my schedule. Okay, anyway, like I said before, the Gary Wrestling program coming up on Freestyle Friday, May 12th. And then the following week, May 15th, we're going to have another Christian Rock Day, Christian church services, May 14th. Services followed by our worship music show we haven't had on for a while. That show's been absent from our airwaves since last fall, and it is Rock Worship, your favorite worship music, coming up on GJRB. And then on the 16th, the next day, we'll be on the air with some music. Yeah, GJRB music and Gary J in the afternoon. Have some of your favorite music in the afternoon. I'll give you news, sports, weather, and all that good stuff. So that's on the 16th here on GJRB Online. And then we're going to start our regular new programming, what I call GJRB programming. GJRB programming coming up on GJRB Online. May 16th is the first day of our GJRB programming, and we're going to be on the air starting at noon, featuring Christian rock music, a mixture of all kinds of music, actually, with our regular format, GJRB Music, and Gary J in the afternoon for a little bit that day. And then on the 19th, we'll have the last 7 days and another Way Out There on GJRB Online. So there you go. That's our schedule for the next few weeks into May here on GJRB Online. Right now, though, let's do that. Let's go into that 8 minutes, 14 seconds. He had some interesting things to say. He's a global predictionist. His name is Peter Kling, and here he is with some of his predictions.
We've got a lot of things to watch out for as we're going into this new year, and I strongly recommend that everybody be prepared. There's one other thing which is looming on the news, and that is Planet X, or the Nibiru system, and there seems to be more evidence that this thing actually exists. And I'm not saying hearsay, I'm saying evidence. And that is something that we need to be prepared for. However, while it's going to give Earth a hard time, it's not going to destroy the planet. It will destroy the way that we live. It will change a lot.
Planet X
but the one thing that all it has to do is
I
cause an EMP, and it most likely is going to do that, and it will put out all electricity on Earth indefinitely. According to a government study that was done, I believe, in 2011 or 2010, they concluded that if the electric grid were down in the United States for 2 years, 90% of the population of America would be dead. So, sobering thoughts. This was a government study. It's not not mine. The whole thing with chemtrails and global warming. It's not global war. It's not carbon emissions that's causing global warming. The chemtrails are mostly barium and aluminum. I'm sure they spray a lot of other garbage up there, but barium is actually an ingredient used in jet fuel. So every jet that takes off out of every airport, whether it's loaded with passengers, cargo, or anything else, has barium in the fuel. Barium is a reflective metal. And so they spray both aluminum and barium into the stratosphere in order to block the sun's rays from hitting the ground. There was a study that was done where they were examining Delhi, India, which is one of the most polluted places on Earth. And they were examining how much of the sun's rays were hitting the ground in Delhi as opposed to one of the most pristine places, the Seychelles Islands. And there was almost a 30% less amount of sun hitting Delhi than there was in the Seychelles Islands. So without the chemtrails, this planet would be burning up. There's an extreme amount of desertification that's going on now. The deserts keep on creeping further and further in. There's droughts all over the place. And the chemtrails are helping reflect the sun's heat back out. So what is perturbing the sun?
Fascinating.
What's getting the sun all upset, which is causing it to be burn more intensely, creating more heat on Earth? See, it's not the carbon emissions, because carbon emissions block the sun's rays. It's the sun itself. There's one other thing which is very showing, and that's the Schumann resonance of Earth. The Schumann resonance of Earth used to beat at 7.8 cycles per second. If we are in deeper meditation, our brains will cycle at 7.8 hertz per second. Actually, it varies, but that is the theta level of our thinking capability. When we're sleeping, we sleep in theta. However, the Schumann resonance of the Earth has gone up to between 11 and 13 cycles per second. For a human, that is the state of beta. In beta is where the fight and flight response is. It's where fear lives. And so the Earth is beating at a fearsome rate. compared to what it was. Why is that? What's increased the Schumann resonance of Earth? What controls the Schumann resonance of Earth is lightning storms, which are generated by solar storms, and the sun itself. So though the sun and lightning are two things which keep the Earth beating, but now it's beating faster. And the sun is the main factor again. There's also times that it spikes up to over 60 hertz per second. That could be caused by CERN, the largest electromagnet on the planet. When that goes up, when they are running CERN, the Hadron Collider at CERN, it could actually be changing the Schumann resonance of Earth, and most likely is. Now, there's one thing that goes along. You know what happens when the Schumann resonance of Earth speeds up?
No.
Time becomes shorter. There's a German physicist that calculated because of the increase in the Schumann resonance of Earth, our days have gone from a 24-hour day to a 16-hour day. Interesting. Another biblical prophecy fulfilled. That time would be things would be speeded up in the last days. It also says, don't be saying, when's it gonna come? It's not showing. It's delaying. Because we're watching a calendar go by and we're caught in the time warp. So what seems to be taking longer isn't taking longer because we are moving 2/3 faster than what we are. Actually, yeah, we're moving 2/3 faster than what we were. And what causes that to happen? Things that affect time. The very vibration of Earth we know affects time. Also mass. Mass in space affects time. And Einstein proved this. So we have something massive headed this way, which is affecting our solar system, not just planet Earth. Interesting, we could start to see the evidence of this almost 20 years ago. In 1998 to 1999, there was a major increase in earthquakes of magnitude 5 and above. The increase was actually 500% over what was recorded for the previous 100 years. And people say, oh, well, we didn't record earthquakes that well back then. Wait a minute. Go look at the graph. You can find it online. Go to Google Images and type it in. I'm sure you'll find it. And you see this pretty much flat graph that comes all the way up to 1998, and then all of a sudden it spikes up, and it's been up ever since. Also, earthquakes don't come in one or two rumbles. They come in clusters. Anybody read the news about what was going on in California? Again, a tremendous amount of low-level earthquakes in Southern California. It's happened several times over the past years. There are places on Earth that just shake all the time. Puerto Rico's one of them. Never gets reported, but they've got 2 or 3 earthquakes going off in Puerto Rico every day.
Wow.
So we've got a lot of things that we have on our plate to watch out for this year. Be prepared for change. Make sure you've got extra food, extra water, extra supplies, because you may have to go without before too long. It's better to be prepared than to be taken advantage of. And we know these things are coming. So stay sharp, stay alert. Read Letters to Earth. The future is yours. There's a fantastic amount of information in that book, which is very applicable to what we're facing today. It explains it all. There's 35 years of research in there. You can find it at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or you can go to my website, www.peterkling.com, and get yourself a copy of it. It explains a lot of what we're facing here. And with that, I'm going to say love and blessings to all. Remember, the future is yours.
And that is Peter Kling. He was on a recent Coast to Coast show. Unfortunately, that Coast to Coast show got taken off YouTube. So I grabbed a few alternate segments with him in an interview that I said earlier that will be played on my 9-foot FM signal. It's on 88.9 KGRB. And then I'll take those clips and I'll listen to the interview and pick the ones and grab the interview, and then I'm going to see how I can possibly get a hold of him for a future Way Out There interview. So we'll see how that goes. And this is way out there on GJRB Online on Spreaker across America and around the world. Didn't get a chance to go into Linda Moulton Howe's Earth Files. Really much not going on there. Matter of fact, I was just on there last night when I was doing prep for this program, and it really wasn't anything on there that was of interest. There are some UFO stories, but really wasn't anything that was really all that interesting. So I'm going to kind of abort that segment for today, and we'll do that on a future show. Our next edition of Way Out There, which will be on, that'll be when we get together for another Way Out There on May 19th here on GJRB Online. We'll do a Linda Moulton Howe's Earth Files, and maybe she'll be on Coast to Coast. I'm hoping maybe sometime between then, and maybe we'll grab a little bit of excerpts of that show and play it for you here on Way Out There on GJRB Online. Got about 13 minutes and 53 seconds left in the show, so I am going to use this time now to do our upcoming shows of Coast to Coast AM, brought to you by Premier Radio Network and Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie on fine stations across America, brought to you by Premier Radio Networks. They're on Coast to Coast AM, and check your local listings or go on www.coasttocoastam.com on your website, and just go to stations. You'll see a map there of all the United States, and just grab your state on the map, and it'll bring up the affiliated stations of Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Fabulous program. Always has a great guest on that show, and I believe it's the show that broadcasts the truth. I really do. You can be a Coast to Coast insider. If you missed the show, it's pennies a day. Coast to Coast AM. Tonight on Coast to Coast AM, we start with PSI Dreams. I might record this for a future show. This is interesting. Director of Office of Paranormal Investigation and President of the Forever Family Foundation, an organization for supporting research on life after death and the work of spirit mediums. Some I might have to kind of question. In a grieving process, Lloyd Arbach will be on, and he'll be interviewed by George Norrie tonight. I will discuss how they identify telepathy, clairvoyance, and precognition, all that stuff. I don't know, I don't follow all this stuff, but it's just kind of interesting that they have the way they talk about it. PSI experiences, they occur through dreams. That's tonight on Coast to Coast AM. Over the weekend, paranormal detection and the Lindbergh kidnapping. Remember Lindbergh, Charles Lindbergh? Remember the kidnapping story? It's been a movie. It happened in the 30s. Some of you older folks who listen might remember, but it was in the 30s. Made a movie about it. Dave Schaefer will be on Saturday night. Dave Schrader will be on Saturday night with Greg Lawson and J.T. Townsend. Could be paranormal before your eyes. Greg Lawson thinks so anyway. He's joined by Dave Schrader. For the first half hour, to discuss how and when faced with paranormal experiences, most people would not know what to recognize, and from everyday occurrences. I like to call this program and have it recorded and played on the air. Followed by True Crime Investigation, J.T. Townsend. This will be an interesting show. A new perspective on the notorious Lindbergh baby kidnapping in 1932. Yeah, it was 1932 when that happened. Okay, so there we go. That is for Saturday night on Coast to Coast from 6 to 10 p.m. Pacific, 8 to 10 Central Time. And 9 to 1, I believe, a.m. in the East will be Art Bell. Somewhere in Time. We're going to go back to April 10th, 1998, when Dr. Timothy Smith spoke on lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences. That is coming up Saturday night on Somewhere in Time. Then on Sunday night, George Knapp takes the helm, and he's got Forensic Mystery and Stranger in the Woods. First half, David Franzak discovered a DNA test that said he is not who he thought he was. Set out to solve a mystery. He joins George Knapp for an update on his story and to discuss how along the way he upturned the genealogy industry while unearthing some family's deepest secrets. So I don't know, maybe not. Second half of the show, 1986. In 1986, a intelligent 20-year-old man named Christopher Knight left his home and disappeared into the forest. He would not have a conversation, and he would not have a conversation with another human until 30 years later. Ooh, that would be a good one. When he was arrested for stealing food. Based on interviews of Knight himself, journalist Michael Finkel details that in Knight's strange, secluded life on Coast to Coast Sunday night. And you're listening to the rundown of the Coast to Coast schedule for coming up this week on the radio on AM or FM, no matter what market you're in, for Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Okay, so we're going to kind of rapidly go through this because we're running out of time. Closely about 8 minutes left. Coming up Monday night, George Norrie's going to have Glennis McCants on, Joseph O. Baker and Christopher Bader. They're going to do the numerology with Glennis McCants, an expert on how patterns of events relate to energy, signature of specific numbers. Discuss how this year's cycle of one is unfolding and what to expect for world events. So that would be a good show. Leaders in the lives of each listener. Second half of the show, sociology professor Christopher D. Bader and Joseph O. Baker will be on to report details on their survey about paranormal beliefs among various groups of ethnics. Anyway. They believe or have experience of such things as ghosts, Bigfoot, UFOs, psychic phenomena, and other power mediums. On Tuesday night, economy in North Korea. Another good show. ESP and Science in Sevenths. George Norrie has Greg Hunter on. He is a good guest. Diane Powell. First half, Greg Hunter, founder of the USAWatchdog.com. Reports on unprecedented stock market growth in spite of the poor economic numbers, and also talks about the history of the North and South Korea and the threat of North Korea. So that should be a good show. That's coming up on Tuesday night. Then we go to Wednesday. Don't even know how to pronounce this. Peloton Messages. Christine Day is going to be on, talking about Peloton Ambassador to the Planet. Spent 27 years traveling the world helping Earthlings connect with some kind of luminaries, okay? Realms, specific assistance, day-to-day lives, discuss current changes in facing the Earth and what is to come. Alternative health tips on Thursday with Benjamin Fuse and Jeffrey Doherty. That's going to be on, sharing the alternative health concepts, and also offering tips on supplements and healthy changes in one's diet and lifestyle. So that'd be one for me, I imagine. Second half, former minister of Assemblies of God. This ought to be good. Jeffrey Doherty We'll discuss the research in the interpretations of new transitions of the book of Genesis, which reveal references of reptilian gods, ship-shaping humanoids. See, they're going to put this in the Bible. Don't know why. An offered update to the Mandela effect. People are claiming that popular culture references from the past are being shifted and altered. That'd be interesting. People who are claiming that popular cultural references from the past are being shifted and altered. That would be a good show. And finally, next Friday night, May 5th, the Afterlife will be discussed with Nancy Dennison, discussing the 1994 episode Lying in a shock, some kind of anaphylactic shock. Anyway, an invasive radiological procedure. She returned from what was one of the longest-lasting, most dramatic afterlife experience she ever reported. She revealed that she was astonished by both to learn the personality experience is just about everything she ever believed about life, death, God, and, of course, was backwards. She says about everything she ever believed about life, death, and God was backwards. So, that's what's coming up this week on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie on the Premier Radio Networks. Okay? Well, that's going to do it for Way Out There today here on GJRB. I'm sorry we didn't really have much time to really cover a lot of what we wanted to do. We didn't get Linda Moulton House Earth Files, and we didn't talk about the mermaid. The one who thought she was a mermaid. We'll keep that one for the next show. It's a funny one. I'll tell you, I don't know if I believe this or not myself, but he said I have to wonder. But anyway, we'll do that one on our next show on May 19th, plus a few other new stuff that we'll cover on the next edition of Way Out There. That's going to do it for me. I'm Gary J. Rustin. Thanks for tuning in. And remember to look up in the skies and let me know what you see way out there. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday for the Positive Rock Show. Until then, so long, everyone. You hear great jazz on GJRB with the best of jazz, up-and-coming jazz, and smooth afternoon. If you can't get enough of jazz and you live in the Quad Cities area, tune in to KALA, St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, at 88.5 on the FM dial. Along with some of that great smooth jazz, you'll hear a lot of great jazz programming, and programming in other great music formats, like blues, urban, including rap, also classic R&B and Motown with David Baker on Rewind, Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central. In addition, you get programming in Spanish and some great gospel programming too. For more information on that great programming you'll hear, check out their schedule at www.sau.edu/KALA. Even if you don't live in the Quad Cities area, you can enjoy KALA anywhere in the world with their internet stream. Connect with KALA. Listen and enjoy. After 1 year, the wait is over. Now join Pastor Ron Johnston and a panel of men and women to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. In this world of chaos and upheaval, this is the program that puts it all into perspective. How will we survive? God only knows. So trust Him and listen to the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast or live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB Online.
This is GJR Broadcasting.